This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Yeah, and that brings us to the classic. Improbable was so good. I mean, you got to consider the half mile was in 46 and change, and it was kind of set up for him. But boy, he's another one. Big stride, took the race, really took over at the top of the stretch, and then just kept going. I mean, really, you're holding a great hand of three horses, three very, very good horses.
And they're off in the Awesome again. Very smooth beginning. Sleepy Eyes Todd, but now Take the 101 sprints up to take the lead. Maximum Security comes away in third. Then Midcourt and Improbable will be last in the early going. Take the 101 narrowly in front. Sleepy Eyes Todd, Maximum Security 3 wide. Midcourt goes 4 wide into the first turn, has about 4 lengths to make up, and he's 2 in front of Improbable. It's Take the 101, the pace very sensible. He's in front by a length. Sleepy Eyes Todd is in second. Maximum Security racing in between horses, and Midcourt outside of that pair. 2.5 lengths covers those 4. It's another 5 back to Improbable, who's racing off the rail and by himself. Take the 101 leads the field to the half-mile pole in the Awesome again. Maximum Security puts his head into second. Sleepy Eyes Todd, Midcourt keeping pace with that pair. Still another 4 back to Improbable. It's been a lonely lead for Take the 101. He controls the pace and goes on with it. Leads by 2.5 lengths now. Sleepy Eyes Todd. Maximum Security has work to do between horses. Here comes Improbable from the back of the field. Midcourt is just in front of him. A quarter to go. Take the 101 still with a 2-length lead. Improbable finding his best stride. He's starting to move in. Maximum Security will be in between them, but it's Improbable who has taken command with an authoritative run from last to first. What a star Improbable has turned into as he is going to romp in the Awesome again. Improbable and Drayden Van Dyke could not have been more impressive as they win by 5. Maximum Security second, Midcourt finished third.
One question I have for you, Maximum Security. Do you think he was a little unhappy with where he was in his last race against Improbable? Like, was his positioning, maybe would you like to have seen him somewhere else in the running of that race?
Yeah, you know what? We knew there was a lot of speed in there, and it was just they were just really going fast. But I think he didn't really bring his A game. He was coming back a little bit quick. He likes that extra time. And now that I can see a difference in him. His mental, horses. He was coming off. We were thinking of waiting for the Jockey Gold Cup with him. But then, Gary, Mr. West, he didn't want to. He said, "I'll just run him there and, give him the extra time for the Breeders' Cup." So I said, "Well, it's okay, but I have another good horse in there," and he understood that. Improbable was waiting for that. He was coming in there fresh, and we knew he was going to run a good race. But I think Max, he wasn't comfortable. He never felt comfortable. He didn't leave there just like himself, So I think he just, he didn't bring his fastball. But now, I think this time off, I can see a difference in him, and it's really hard, I know, to separate them right now. They all have little different styles, and Authentic, I'm still scratching my head about the Preakness. And so that horse is such a gentleman. He did not want to get by that filly, but you know, it was an exciting race to watch, but not for me. I'm thinking, all right, come on, go by. All right, go ahead, you know, and he just stayed right there. But he can be a bit of a quirky horse, you know, but he's maturing and he's really breezing well, but you have to put him in the race. He's just that kind of horse. You have to just put him in there, because once he shuts down, you can't get him going again. As we saw what happened at the Haskell, Mike shut him down, and Mike told Johnny V in the Derby, "Hey, dude, you can't shut him down, because you can't get him going again, you know."
Wow.
But that's what happened, and so you know, it's one of those things where, you know, but they're all three of them, and I call them the dream team, because any trainer would love to train just one of them. You know, it's you know, I've never come in, you know, into the Classic with you know, it's a strong hand to have, you know, but they have to get away, and they have to get the trip. You know how it is. They have to break well, and, you know, so.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Any one of those standing alone could be one of the favorites in this race. And it's really nice having a strong threesome like that. It's just, you're in a great enviable position to every trainer in America right now. But across the board, those three, Classier, Princess Noor, Gamine, I mean, I love what you bring into the Breeders' Cup this year. And I just think you're in great shape, and we're all rooting for you, Bob.
Gary, thank you. And it's you know, see, aren't you glad you're not a trainer now, which is, we have to go through and stuff, but it's you know, it's been a difficult year, but it's been a good year. You know, I can't complain. At least we're open and we're running, and with everything, crazy things going on. But I'm pretty excited about Breeders' Cup, and hopefully, you know, they all show up. It's all a trainer can ask for.
Yeah.
I want to be able to root for them when they turn for home. That's all we ask for. And so if they're right there turning for home, then, you know, that's all you can ask for.
That's right. Well, we'll be rooting for you to be right there turning for home. And on behalf of our viewers and Capital OTB, Bob, I can't thank you enough for this interview.
Well, thank you anytime.
All righty. Have a great run. We wish you health and good things at the Breeders' Cup.
Thank you.
Happy to be joined now by our friend Jack Knowlton. He is live in Lexington. Jack, good morning.
Good morning.
Fill us in.
I'm up at the Kentucky Horse Park after being over at Keeneland. I'm watching Funny Side graze a little bit.
Nice.
Barclay Tagg and Heather Smullen just arrived, so we're having a little reunion with our first Saratoga Stable hero.
Excellent. How's the old boy look?
He looks great. He really does. I had to stop and buy a bag of peppermints before I came, because I knew that he wouldn't want anything to do with me if he didn't get his peppermint. So he kind of maybe remembered, I'm not sure, but he gobbled a couple of peppermints down pretty quickly.
Yeah, do you get any sense that he recognizes you guys and remembers the old days?
You know, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Barkley hasn't been here in a while. He said the last time I came, he didn't even acknowledge me, so I didn't come back. But he's back here now. So I don't, you know, the one Robin who was so close to him, I think that, you know, she's really the one that, if there's any recognition, it's probably her. And then the groom that he had, Zach, I mean, they're the ones that were closest to him for, you know, about 6 years.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you get a chance to go over and make the visit while you're down there. How long have you been in the area?
I came in on Monday.
And
so I was the second one in. One of our partners, Eric Kordsmeyer, he came in on Saturday and was watching over things over the weekend while he saw the work on Saturday, which was super work, 59.20 for 5 furlongs, strong gallop out. Just seems to really relish this racetrack. This morning, Heather, who's the exercise rider, said that he got over the track better this morning. They had a little more moisture in it, like you probably have on race day. So everything is positive. You know, we probably would have preferred, you know, a little further out in the draw, but he's quick out of the gate, and we're hoping that Manny will be able to work out a trip. And if he can do that, I think we're going to be real competitive in that group.
Yeah, I've been reading the workout reports from Mike Welch in the Daily Racing Forum, and he's been giving them, thumbs up pretty much every time he goes out on the track, certainly. And we'll hit on that workout last week a little more in a second. But fill me in on the protocols this year. What are the protocols going to be on Friday and Saturday as far as who can be on track? And as an owner, since you've been there, are you allowed to go to the backstretch and go visit?
Yeah, they allowed 2 owners for each horse to have backstretch access. So I've been there, the last 3 mornings, and then they'll shut things down tomorrow. So we had our 3 days, and they had, the horses out on the track. They had, breakfast for folks that were able to come in, and that was very nice for the last 3 days. And we've, believe it or not, we've got a group of 30 that is coming in for the race.
Yeah, I know when we were over at Pinnell's for the watch party, an enthusiastic group, and I'm expecting even more so from you guys on Breeders' Cup afternoon on Saturday. We're looking forward to it because obviously being, related to the area, we always like to root for the locals. Let's talk a little bit about that workout last week because I think we have a little bit of video from it, and all reports were just great. And so it does seem like, and what are the reports from, Heather and Barclay and whatnot on how he's handled the track? Because certainly, as I say, that workout Saturday looked fabulous.
Yeah, no question about it. And as I said, Heather said this morning, he seemed to get over the track better than he has any time since he's been here because there was a little more moisture. She thought probably it was kind of being race day prepped and just ran like there's nothing to it. What I'm hearing, from Barkley and Heather is that he's coming into this race like he did the Travers. And you look at his works, they're comparable. And we just think that getting away from Churchill, unfortunately, he just doesn't seem to agree with Churchill. I'm expecting that, as long as Manny can work out a decent trip here, I think he's going to be right in the hunt. And we're, cautiously optimistic that he can win it.
One of the things, I will tell you, I picked him on top. I'm a little bit of a homer, but I also, one of the things I looked at was that Travers victory with the 109 Beyer. And we're going to watch the stretch run of that again here. I was lucky enough to be able to be on the track every day, so I was there for the race. And this was just a spectacular performance at the 1.25 mile distance, a 109 Beyer getting geared down. And I heard an interview you did a little earlier this week where you were kind of thinking maybe a 110 or over Beyer will be required for the victory on Saturday in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But as we're seeing here with Manny gearing him down, that could have been possible in that 109 Beyer Travers. So does that give you confidence, the Travers victory, the 1.25 miles, and the way he won that race?
No question about it. That 109 Beyer ties Tom's Day Tot for the top Beyer figure for a 3-year-old or older horse this year. It probably just ran a 108. Authentic back-to-back 105s in the Derby and the Preakness. So, I think that we're sitting on a big race. And I have no reason to believe that there isn't some upside to him 3 months after the Travers. I think that, 3-year-olds continue to develop. The older horses in the race, they probably aren't going to, typically grow or improve over what they've already done. So if I'm right on that and, we're able to duplicate or even improve on the Travers race, you said it was a 1.25 miles. I don't think Improbable has run a 1 mile. I'm not sure about that, but not the way this horse has. And so I think, I call it the Baffert Brigade. Obviously, they drew outside. Authentic probably is going to want to go to the front. He's going to have to work a little bit to get there. But I think as long as Manny can find a way to get him in a good spot, I'm looking for the finish that we saw in every race except the race at Churchill, where he just gets strong going down that stretch and pulls away. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah, and you alluded to it before, and I've heard some of your conversations this week since the draw. Got the two-post position, which a lot of people think probably wasn't advantageous, as he maybe likes to be a little bit better outside of horses. But he does have some tactical speed coming out of the gate, and it sounds like you guys would have liked something a little further out, but you're not looking at this two-post position as a serious detriment.
No, I mean, the only good thing about it is the odds on him are going to go up, because a lot of people are saying, oh, he's got the two posts, you know, he can't do it from there. But if you look at his maiden win and you look at his Champagne win, I mean, he was going, you know, between horses and around horses, and so I'm really not concerned about it. Manny knows the horse well enough. As long as he gets a good break, I think he's going to be able to put him in the race about where he wants to put him in.
Talk a little bit about how tough was the decision to bypass the Preakness, and now that you've done, he's coming into this race just in the razor sharp form he looks like. Are you happy with the decision?
Well, he made the decision for us. Robin told me that even if he'd have won the Derby, that he had not recovered enough, he would not have been able to run in the Preakness. So, you know, it wasn't, you know, the kind of decision, oh, do we or don't we, like we had with the Champagne. I mean, Barkley and I, you know, we agonized, do we, you know, go into the Champagne, jump into the real deep water off a maiden win at Saratoga, or do we do what we did with Funnyside and go, you know, hopefully win a New York bred race? No, we made the right decision there, and that was a decision to be made. With the Preakness, it really wasn't. He told us he didn't come out of the race at a point where he would be able to run in 4 weeks. So we just pulled the plug on that and said, okay, we know that he loves to have space between his races. He's proven that time and again this year. So that's what we did.
And again, I heard you talking yesterday or the day before in an interview. He's been kind of not only on the track, looks great, but it sounds like Barkley's been getting him used to all the mechanisms of the racetrack, getting a little time in the paddock, a little time in the gate, correct?
Yep, Barkley leaves no stone unturned. He's just done a fantastic job with him. I mean, it was a big commitment for him to come down here 3 weeks early, bring Heather and Juan, who's his barn foreman, as well as a groom for Tez. But, you know, Barkley feels this is, you know, in many ways a chance of a lifetime. And he says, I'm 82 years old. I don't know if I'm ever going to have another horse like this. So everything and anything I can do to, you know, get him prepared for this race, protect him from, you know, all the press and the TV stations and everybody like that, you know, wants to, you know, kind of intrude on his space in the barn. He's looking out for him. So, but I couldn't be happier. The weather is fabulous down here. Track looks like it's going to be fast. Turf should be firm, and you know, for this time of year, it's just absolutely perfect weather we're expecting.
Yeah, I looked out as we tape this. I looked out at the forecast for the weekend, and it just looks gorgeous. So, knock wood, everything's going to work out well that way. Talk a little bit about, you know, you mentioned Barkley and No Stone Unturned, and a veteran guy with just a fabulous lifetime resume. But you and he go back to the Funnyside days, so you've been with him for a long time. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Barkley Tagg.
Well, you know, Barkley became our trainer when we had two not very good horses at Saratoga. You know, it was, you know, a situation where the trainer we had wasn't doing any good, and our two horses weren't doing any good. And my great friend, rest in peace, Gus Williams, and I decided if we were going to stay in this game, we had to make a change. And fortunately, I had gotten to know Barkley just a little bit on the rail over at the Oklahoma track, and I called Barkley and asked him, you know, if he might be willing to take a couple of horses. He said, yeah. He says, I've got two open stalls down at Belmont, and you guys want to come down next weekend, and, you know, I'll send my men over to get the horses from this other trainer. So we did, and that got things started, and, you know, not too long after that, we were fortunate enough to end up buying Funnyside, and really the money to buy Funnyside came from a horse that another owner of Barkley's sold us at Barkley's request. He didn't want to send a horse to Florida, and Barkley said, I know if this horse goes to Florida, it's just a turf horse by the name of Bail Money, that she can win and make money down there. So she got claimed for $62,500 in February, and we bought Honeyside a few days later, and they say the rest is history.
That's great. And I know you like the New York breds, and you look around. I'm just curious, this year, 2-year-olds, you excited about some of the horses in the barn for next year?
Yeah, we've got 2 Laobands that we bought before Laoban became hot. I mean, he's got a couple horses running here in the Breeders' Cup. He's already moved from New York to Kentucky. And we have a horse named Saratoga Flash that showed some real capability, worked in 59-2 at Saratoga. We were disappointed in his first race, but he cut himself up a bit, so we said we're just going to give him, 2 or 3 months and let him grow up and mature. So he's in Ocala. He'll be going to Barkley when they get down to Palm Meadows. So we like him. The 2-year-old filly, Ruthless Gal, we haven't really had a chance to do much with her yet. So we're hoping that something good will come there. And then we bought a couple of yearlings, one by Fast Anna and one by Central Banker. So they'll hopefully be running as 2-year-olds next year. And we also got a tonalist colt, or filly, tonalist filly, and a Tisnow colt. So we expanded our stable. Our good fortunes with Tiz, people were willing to spend some of the winnings, and believe it or not, Saratoga's up to 9 horses now.
Nice. And as I say, when we were out at Pinnell's for your watch party out there, there was a lot of locals involved and a lot of smiles, and it was just great to see people to be able to get into a horse like this, and it becomes infectious, and I think it helps the game. And 'tis the law, of course, by constitution, and jumped on him a little bit before he became popular. And I think it may have been when we were at Pinnell's, you said you had the Laobands, and I thought,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll have to keep my eyes on, and certainly since then, they have turned out to be very nice. So how are you getting the advice on, some of these early sires that maybe are worth taking a look at? Who's giving you the heads up on some of those?
It's all Barkley and Robin when we go to the sales, and we want to see quality mares on the dam side. That's a major criteria that we have. And then they're looking at the physical. I mean, they want to see, a horse that's got good conformation, that's got good bone. They look at, 100 things that I probably don't understand half of them. And there are bloodstock advisors, and there are people that spend an awful lot of money paying for bloodstock agents and people to measure the size of their heart and just all kinds of things. But with us, it's the old-fashioned, the pros that been in this game for decades and decades and seen so many horses and know what they like and what they don't like. And we've been very fortunate, in the small stable that we have, to have 2 horses like Funnyside and Fizzalaw, and it's all a tribute to Barkley.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the size of your stable, to wind up with those 2 horses, just incredible and a lot of fun. It makes for a great story that, again, I think helps pull people into the game and adds intrigue and fun. And I think a lot of people are going to be rooting for 'Tis the Law on a Saturday afternoon. Everybody up here at OTB certainly will be. We wish you a lot of luck. But I also want to toss out, because when I heard some of the things you were saying this week, we may not be seeing the last of them on Saturday. Sounds like 'Tis the Law will be back as a 4-year-old next year.
Yeah, that was one of the conditions that we set when we dealt with farms that were interested in him as a stallion, and that was part of the agreement we have with Coolmore. So we're hopeful that we'll be running in the Pegasus at Gulfstream on the 23rd of January, and go from there. The Whitney is circled as a race that we definitely want to make. We'd love to come back home, hopefully with 50,000 people there to cheer him on in the Whitney. And obviously, the Breeders' Cup next year at Del Mar would be probably the final race for him.
Yeah, knocking wood. Hopefully the stands are jammed up at Saratoga for a Whitney with 'Tis the Law, because that would be great. Jack, we really appreciate you taking the time. Sure, you're very busy this week, but I wanted to catch up with you and just get a little update on a horse that is just working well coming into the race. Again, always like to root for the horses that have the local connections. He's had such a great season. The race up at Saratoga added some local fans. Certainly, that was just one of the better races all year long among any divisions. And so, again, Jack, appreciate you taking the time, and lots of luck Saturday afternoon in the Classic.
Well, thank you so much. Always good talking with you, and thanks for all the fans in the capital area that I know are going to be rooting for Tez.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jack. Jack Nolan, operating partner of Saratoga Stable. They have 'Tis the Law in the Classic on Saturday afternoon.
On to the distaff. Valiance, nice win in the Spinster, same day at Keeneland. Tell us about her. I mean, this could be the toughest race of the day, obviously. But you have a good one. I mean, she's a good filly.
She's a very good filly, and she's a little bit unusual in terms of the way we've managed her. She started off by winning her first 3 races on the turf, and as a young horse, she seemed like she handled the turf a little bit better than the dirt. But what we were seeing in her training this year was she's physically developed. She's gotten a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and her dirt works kept getting better and better. So when she won the stake at Monmouth, when it came off the turf, it was a very convincing win. And we felt like, now it's time to take a shot at a real race on the dirt.
Here's Valiance now trying to pick up the top 2. Has to go wide around the far turn. Ollie's Candy is still looking toward the inside, but still 4th. Saracosa 5th. Our Super Freak is 6th. The quarter mile to go in the Juddmonte Spinster. Here's Valiance coming after She Dares the Devil. Ollie's Candy looking for running room toward the inside. She's 3rd, and now 3 lengths away as Valiance has a narrow lead into the final furlong. Valiance with the advantage. Ollie's Candy runs on at her from the outside. She Dares the Devil is there toward the inside. Ollie's Candy running out of time. Valiance with the lead. Ollie's Candy trying. Valiance prevails by 3/4.
And, certainly didn't hurt our chances when Midnight Bisou didn't make the race. But I thought she still stepped up another level, and it was again, a big performance over a track that, she gets to run over again. So she's got to take it up one more level. This is a loaded race, and it'll be interesting to see what McPeak does with his filly, which direction he goes. But, we're really pleased with the way this filly's training, and, we're happy to take a shot at it.
Yeah, that could be the most watched race of this year if McPeak and everybody goes to the distaff, because, and that's great. And the winner is going to really stamp herself. So that's a big race for you. Best of luck there.
Thank you.
Now on to Halliday. Man, he was good early on. He won the 4-star Dave. How do you feel? You're going in the turf mile, correct?
Correct.
And how do you feel about he hasn't run since August 22nd? I've known you for a long time. That's generally not a problem. How do you feel about the time he's had? I know he had a little setback and whatnot.
Yeah, it wasn't by design necessarily. And like with Liam's Map, when he ran in the Woodward at the end of September, we decided, okay, we're not going to run again until the Breeders' Cup. In Halliday's case, we wanted to run in the Shadwell, and we had to scratch the day of the race. He got an infection in a hind leg, and he just wasn't right that day. And it was one of those things. It's so unfortunate because he's training great, and he had a bad 72 hours. Luckily, he responded really well to treatment, and he's come back with 2 good solid breezes at Belmont. So we got 1 more breeze to go, but he looks good. I think he's the kind of horse that can run well fresh. What I really want to see is hopefully some good weather leading up to it, so the turf's not too soft. He's kind of a free running horse. You gotta let him kind of do his thing, and if they don't bother him a whole lot on the front end, I think he's got a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got great numbers, beautiful way of going. You got everything in his corner for sure. Well, it looks like you got a great hand. 5 rock solid horses for the Breeders' Cup, and they're all training well. Everything is in your book. You're very happy with the way they're all coming up to this race.
Yeah, we've had a really good couple of weeks here, and obviously we got one more round of works to go. Keeping a close eye on the weather. It could be a little tricky here, the days we have scheduled to breeze. But so hopefully those go well, and then they're all scheduled to fly to Kentucky on November 2nd, and keep your fingers crossed at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. We know it's a game of inches. Well, on behalf of Capital OTB and myself, Todd, I wish you safe workouts. I hope all your horses come back good, and we'll all be rooting for you big time on Breeders' Cup Day.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great run, man.
Thank you.
So getting on to Saturday, I think you have a great shot on Saturday too. I like all these horses. Got Stormy in the turf sprint. Tell us about Got Stormy. I mean, every time I look up, that horse is running huge.
Well, she's been, it's been gratifying of late. So many people, all the experts had said she wasn't what she used to be. And I kept saying, no, wait, hold on. No, this is not the case. The thing is with Got Stormy, Got can handle any type of ground. She proved that at Kentucky Downs.
Far outside, Winning Envelope is put in a bid. It's Got Stormy in front. Winning Envelope on the outside, up into second. Into Mystic is third, but Got Stormy is too good. Got Stormy and Tyler Gaffalione win it by 4. Winning on.
The problem is, Gary, is the softer it is, the more it limits her distance limitations. So for her to get a mile, I tell everybody she really can only run 7.5 furlongs. But if she shuts the engines down at a 7.5. If the turf is extremely fast, as it was last summer when she broke the track record at Saratoga in the 4-star day, she can get a mile. But what happened? We kept getting soft turfs. All started in the spring at Tampa and went all along, and she was getting beat. So what we decided to do was, we said, well, this is the time now. She had lost a couple of races. We'll go ahead and try sprinting her. We've been wanting to sprint her for a while, and she caught a really soft turf at Kentucky Downs, and she couldn't have been more impressive. Then we came back and we ran at Keeneland, and the turf was fairly hard at Keeneland when she ran, and it was favoring some speed. And I thought Tyler rode her extremely confident. I was like, come on, Tyler, get her running. And when she got lucky, she got up in the last jump.
Stretch Jakarta, the leader, chased by Stillwater Cove, 2 lengths between them. Surrender now third. Into Mystic, fourth up on the outside as they come to the final furlong. Into Mystic making a more serious bid now, coming after Jakarta. Jakarta into Mystic. Got Stormy is going to be running late down the far outside, but the wire's coming. Into Mystic, short lead. Here's Got Stormy running on. Jakarta toward the rail. Into Mystic. Got Stormy is still trying at the wire.
But again, she's another one. If there's some give in the turf, I think that's going to help her because I want the race to be more like 3/4 than 5.5. So I think 3/4, 7/8 is her game on the turf.
Well, looking at the weather, there's another storm coming up out of the Gulf, and I mean, this we'll be rooting for you to get some soft turf. That's for sure.
Well, I've been training. I was training in Kentucky before there was turf, and I can tell you this. And I told Gary Barber this. I've told a lot of people this. It'd be very unlikely that we didn't have a soft turf in November at Keeneland. I mean, because, the shorter days, less sun, and they're getting rain, and it just doesn't dry out. And
right.
So there'll be some give in the turf.
Good. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. How about, tell us about March to the Arch in the Breeders' Cup Mile turf.
Well, March could easily won. I can't think of the name of the race. Was it the Shadwell Mile last year at Keeneland? They run a grade 1 in the fall. I can't remember. I get them confused. Sometimes if the Shadwell's in the spring, Shadwell. You go back and watch the replay. He could have easily won the Shadwell. He got stopped a couple times.
They're off in the Shadwell Turf Mile. There goes Born Great from between horses. Casa Creed right there to the inside. These two come to the front in the opening strides. Without Parole, going to back away and slide over next to the rail. There goes Parlor, moving up a close third, but caught wide into the first turn. Analyze It moves up one lane, now 2 lanes off the rail into the 5th position, 3 lengths off the early lead. Flavius saving ground to the inside in 6th. Ivar is in 7th. Bowie's Hero is 8th, and Raging Bull is last of the 9, 23.44 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. It is Casa Creed who leads it by a length up the backstretch. Born Great just off the leader's flank now and second by a length. Without Parole, third to the inside. Parlor stays toward the far outside, regains third by a neck. Break of 2 to Analyze It, who's 5th a half length to Flavius to the inside. Ivar, Bowie's Hero, and Raging Bull. First half mile in 47.39 seconds. Casa Creed, the leader to the far turn, still on top a length and a half. Born Great is still second by 3/4 of a length. Parlor still caught wide, still third around the far turn. Without Parole, down to the inside, looks for a little more running room from 4th. Analyze It 5th, going to have to swing toward the center of the course. Still 5 lengths from the front. Flavius has 6 to make up. Then Ivar, who's 7 from the lead. They turn for home. Casa Creed with Parlor trying to take a run at him. Without Parole, needs room to the inside. Analyze It needs to find more in 4th. Ivar 5th on the far outside. Casa Creed short lead. Here's Ivar. Ivar picks up the chase. Ivar striding forward. Raging Bull's coming late to 2nd. But Ivar is in front for Joe Talamo. Ivar to win the Shadwell.
I think he'll like Keeneland with a little given the turf. You know, he ran a huge race in the King Edward, I believe it was. And then the Woodbine Mile, he got held up again. He has a lot of troubled trips, and it's nobody's fault but his own. He's an extremely talented horse, but he's not one of those horses, Gary, that when you say go, he takes off. It takes him a little bit. You know, he gets in a little trouble where, and you know how turf is. Split second, you can be in serious trouble.
Absolutely.
He needs an extremely good trip. He knows the Keeneland course. Tyler Gaffleone's going to ride him, and Tyler knows him well. And he's probably a bit of a long shot, but he'll be running. He's training very well.
Excellent. And last and certainly not least, War of Will. What a neat horse. I mean, he's got to be such a pleasure to train.
Oh, he's a dream. He's a dream. You know, he's a great, obviously he won the Preakness Grade 1 on the dirt. He won the, can't remember, the Grade 1 at Keeneland on the turf. So he's he's a 2-time winner. Grade 1 winner. We just kind of feel like he's training extremely well right now on the dirt. He breezed the other day. I think he worked 5/8 and something like 59. Galloped out a mile at Churchill in 38.
Wow.
So he's a serious horse.
Is he with Tyler also? Will Tyler ride him?
Yeah, Tyler actually rides. I think we have 7, and I think he rides 5 of them.
You know, I've watched his career with great interest because to me, he really looks like a budding superstar rider. I love the way he rides. They all make mistakes, but I mean, he really he really has done some really good things, and he really looks like he has a big future.
I talked to him yesterday. You know, he's coming off another leading rider. He was the leading rider at Keeneland.
Oh.
And I told him, I said, yeah, everybody's seen what I knew a long time ago.
That's right.
You know,
that's right. I used to love.
I mean, Gary Barber saw it too. Gary Barber has been a big factor in giving Tyler some big amounts early on in his career.
And he's been a great owner for you too.
Gary Barber, tremendous. I mean, Gary Barber, you'll have a tough time finding somebody that loves the game more than him. And it doesn't matter whether it's the Preakness or a $10,000 claiming race. He wants to win.
And his heart is in it. You know, it's nice having owners like that. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. You know what, Gary, I'm very fortunate. I have a bunch of wonderful owners, and let me do a lot of what I want to do. Let me give my horses time when I need to. And there's not a lot of pressure. you'll see, and I think you could say the same thing with your career, and that is, yeah, I don't try. It's never my intention. I mean, I would never stop a horse from winning, but the first race and the second race, that's just it's a stepping stone for me. And I don't feel the pressure that I need to go win first time out. In fact, most of the time I think it's the worst thing that can ever happen is for them to win first time out. I like my horses to get better and better. I train probably 6 or 7 millionaires that took 5 or 6 starts for them to break their maiden.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. And, you know, Mark, I also got to commend you personally because you've become a real advocate for the health of the horses and the well-being of the horses. And I don't see a lot of trainers stepping forward and saying what you said. And I, you know, believe me, on behalf of us at Capital OTB and our viewers and your fellow horsemen like myself, we very much appreciate that you are always looking out for the health of the horse.
Well, you know what, Gary, this game has been very good to me, and I owe everything I have to it. And I've come to the time in my career where I've been fortunate to accomplish most things that I wanted to accomplish. And now I'm trying to give back. And I have Norman, who's now a trainer. My youngest son, Colby, could possibly be a trainer. And I just want our business and the sport that you and I love so much to continue to thrive. And I want it to be played on a level playing field. There's been some things done already to help that. And it's my hope for there to be more. And I will do all I can to be part of, getting that level playing field.
Well, we need more people like you. And
thank you.
Mark, I can't enough for coming on with us today and telling us about your horses. And we'll all be rooting for you a week from Friday, man. Best of luck.
Thanks for having me, Gary. Enjoyed it.
All righty. Take care, Mark. Moving on to Saturday, we have Arklow in the turf. Doing well?
Yeah, fantastic. This horse has really moved forward since the addition of blinkers. He was training well going into the Keeneland race. He just didn't really get involved, and we just ran a really flat race, and I just couldn't really kind of come out of the race kind of scratching my head, and started thinking about blinkers with him. And then the UN was 6 days later, and he was actually at Keeneland. There was a plane out of Lexington like 2 days later. Sent him over to Monmouth, and that didn't work out either. He got broken, just didn't get involved, and Mike Smith rode him, and he come running, he galloped out on top. I said, man, there's something I got to do to get this horse involved. And obviously, he's older horse, he's accomplished horse. He kept running well enough, very sound. I thought, let's put some blinkers on him. He's been a new horse since, to be honest with you.
He sure has.
Yeah. Give us a lot of confidence going into the Kentucky Downs race. And, even more confidence out of the Kentucky Downs race, given the last few works he's had. So he's moving great. He'll have an easy one on the dirt this week at Churchill and then off to Keeneland.
Boy, another very strong contender for you. Moving on to the mile turf. How's Factor This looking?
He's doing well. We went back and forth about, whether to run him or not. Mile's probably not his best distance. I think he's more of a 1 1/8 horse, but he does have speed. I do think he'll like the turf course at Keeneland. He was able to win a first level allowance there a year and a half or so ago. And, we'll see. It seems like the mile race sometimes, if there's a little give in the ground, it's good to be up close. That could be a possibility at Keeneland in November, that there would be a little cut in the ground. So, and he ran a big race at Pimlico. It was very soft over there last time for the state dinner there at Pimlico, and ran a career best figure. So he honestly, he'll run on anything. He's very, very, very honest horse. He was running on some very firm turf courses this winter at the fairgrounds and throwing big numbers. So he's in good form, and I expect him to run well.
And you would have to think that the first week in November at Keeneland, there is going to be a little softness to that turf course. I mean, the weather is so unstable right now. We have all kinds of hurricanes brewing off the coast and everything else. You would have to think it probably will be a little on the soft side.
Yeah, I think that'll benefit both Arklow and Factor This, to be honest with you.
Great. And how about the dirt mile? Nick's go?
Yeah. We pre-entered him. We're looking to, we'll see. I think it could come up a good setup. He really likes Keeneland. We had the one start with him there, and I'm
go in front, a widening 6-length margin. Now it's out to 7. Casino Star is second by 3. Royal Mesa is third. It is into the final furlong for Knicks Go and Joel Rosario with a lopsided margin all the way down the stretch back to Casino Star. Knicks Go.
Obviously, he won the Breeders' Fraternity there as a 2-year-old. So, he definitely likes Keeneland. I think he likes that short stretch. He has speed. So I think there's definitely some positives, as far as that. Honestly, I wasn't even considering the dirt mile prior to that allowance win, and he was training really well. Was glad the race win. It was a 3 other than allowance, but he performed really, really well. So, he came out of it in great shape. He's a very good workhorse. He breezed well this actually Saturday at Churchill, and I think he was a minute and 1. So it was typical work for him. He's a very, very good workhorse.
Now, not having seen all the pre-entries yet, which come out today, obviously, did we miss anybody that we should be talking about?
Bo Recall is going to go in the the mile. Against the boys. That'll be the Factor This race. She's doing well. Excited about her. She's very honest. She needs a setup. She could possibly get that. She been second in the Justa game the last 2 years. She won the Churchill Downs turf distaff the last 2 years. So she's really honest. She's won a couple grade 2s, yet to get a grade 1, but I think with the right setup, she could be running down the middle of the track late and be a factor. She's a good filler.
I love when a trainer has the constitution to run that filly against the boys. I mean, that's a big thing. And I commend you for that, because those, fillies can run against the boys. I mean, we've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, fillies have had a lot of success in that race. Obviously, Uni won it last year. She was able to defeat Uni earlier this year in the Justa game, and then Uni got the jump on her last time in the First Lady at Keeneland. Kind of figured that happened the way they went up the backside. She kind of got away from us a little bit. So we got to keep some of those horses in her sight, and to be effective at the end. But she's very honest. She always comes running down the lane.
Great. Anybody else you'd like to talk about?
No, I hope I'm not missing anyone. Let me grab my book here.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, this is a good problem to have. We have a Barda in the juvenile turf. This horse was second in the Bourbon at Keeneland. Was second to a really good Into Mischief colt, to Todd Pletcher's. He's an Into Mischief colt as well. He's nice. He's a nice colt. He's a smart strike mare. I think he does like the grass. He's a very green horse. He's still trying to figure everything out. He's only run 2 times. He broke his maiden first time at Ellis, and in the race at Keeneland, he looked like he was going to be last, and then Rispoli from California rode him, and he turned for home, and was really not a factor. And then once he got clear, he just took off and come back and had a lot of things to say. Thinks the horse has a big upside. We've actually added blinkers to him. It's a possibility we may run him in the race with an addition of blinkers. He's trained extremely well. His work last week was good. The work this week was really good. So he seems to be improving at the right time, and that's what you want to see, obviously, with these young horses.
Absolutely. But man, I'll tell you what, if you were a football team, you'd be like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens going into the Breeders' Cup. And I can't thank you enough for the insight you've given us on these horses and for joining us today. And believe me, on behalf of Capital OTB and Racing Across America, we'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, Gary. I really appreciate that. We'll talk soon.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Well, now we go to a race that you've had a heavy hand in, the Turf Sprint. That seems to be your race every year. And you have Texas Wedge coming out of the Jim McKay at Pimlico.
Stretch now, the Jim McKay turf sprint, and Hollis tries to pour it on and break away. Texas Wedge, though, moves solidly to second with 3/16 of a mile left to go. Hollis, Texas Wedge second. Francatelli back in third position. Now passed by Completed Pass, and Completed Pass is coming with a run to the outside, but time is running out. Hollis, Completed Pass, Hollis, and Gabriel Saez. Hollis at 11-1, holding on to win by half.
Ran a very impressive race, and in the stretch, I was thinking maybe about the 8th pole. He was going to get swallowed up, and he found another gear and kicked on. He ran a very game race.
You know, it wasn't his kind of turf course. It was a bog. It was really, really wet over there, and I think they ran 5/8 in a minute or 59 and a lot of change. So, you know, he likes a firm turf, and hopefully he gets that next Saturday. Another very game horse, and you know, he's going to give us his all, and hopefully that's enough. We're, you know, toying with putting blinkers on him. We breezed him in blinkers last week, and he worked lights out 59 in a piece at Churchill. So, you know, it's hard to make that kind of big change in $1 million race, but you know, sometimes you got to go with your gut.
Well, that's good. And trainers, that's what trainers have to do. We go with our gut, and, you know, sometimes you'll go home and you'll be up all night staring at the ceiling saying, why did I do that? And other times you're a hero. So
yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. Now a horse that I really like brings us to CZ Rocket. I really like this horse. He tries. He's got a huge heart. In the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, that boy never gave up. He looks really good. I see you have him cross-entered. What's the feeling with him? Where are you headed?
Well, we're you know, we're headed to the sprint. You know, I joked with someone at the Breeders' Cup, you know, we'll cross-enter him in case every horse in the dirt mile gets sick. But he's better around one turn, and you know, he's just been a dream come true of a horse. Really been a dream come true to claim a horse for 40,000 and have him win 5 in a row, and, you know, grade 2s and winning your ends and all that stuff.
Approaching the quarter pole, Flagstaff by a neck, CZ Rocket, Giant Expectations, Collusion Illusion looking for room, finding it down at the rail, and here he comes. Here comes Collusion Illusion down at the rail, trying to run down Flagstaff, who has a short lead, and CZ Rocket with those big strides on the outside. CZ Rocket has collared Flagstaff close to home, but if Flagstaff keeps fighting, CZ Rocket, Flagstaff, CZ Rocket.
So, you know, he's a horse you want to go to war with, because you know he's going to battle, and it looks like they're only a pace to set up his kick. He's 2 for 2 at Keeneland, so I think you know, I think we're got a very live chance.
And how's he been training? Is training well for you?
Training super. He's very straightforward, been very easy horse to train, and you know, he's dead fit. And so we're just keeping him happy with a steady diet of, you know, easy half miles, you know, 49. And, you know, we just got to get by one more work Saturday and get through a week of training.
So, and just for the sake of our viewers, you will be flying, obviously, from California into Lexington. When will that be?
The horses fly Sunday and Tuesday, and I fly out on Monday.
Excellent. Well, Peter Miller, you have another strong hand, and we'll be rooting for you, man. I really hope you do some good over there. I hope the horses stay healthy. Gary Contessa with Capital OTB and Racing Across America. Today we get to speak with George Weaver about his Breeders' Cup possibility. Point of Honor pointed for what could be the absolute toughest race on the card. I mean, the filly and mare distaff is an absolute war. What do you think?
You know, Point of Honor is a filly that just always shows up. We haven't taken a back seat in any of the races that we've picked for her. She's a top class mare, and she always gives everything she has. And you know, she's going to need a setup. She's a filly that can't really make her own race. She doesn't have the kind of tactical speed to put her in a spot. We need a little bit of pace. I'm glad we're going back to 2 turns, and if we get a little bit of pace in front of us, I think she can be right there at the end.
She
But,
really looked powerful closing in the Belden last time. I mean, it was a very good race.
I was more impressed. I thought that was a much better race than what we ran in Saratoga. And, like I said, I've always thought she's a better 2-turn horse. We're looking forward to getting back to 2 turns. And I tell you, she's really, really training well right now. Very happy with her.
Excellent. Because she's, you're right. She seems to show up every single time. You've done a great job with her, and she seems great. So those are your 2 horses for the Breeders' Cup, George?
They are. Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Well, man, and how are they both training? Are they training up here in Saratoga, or are they down below at Belmont, or?
They're both in Saratoga. Cindy's getting on both of them. She's a big part of their success all year. And, we've kept them here. We live up here, and, I want to keep Cindy getting on them, and I want to see them every day. And so we've trained up here, and they like it up here. They've done well. And, we're shipping tomorrow. It's about time to get out of here. As we talked about the weather a few minutes ago, I don't think you're going to be able to even get on the track at Saratoga on Saturday. So we moved it up a day. We're going to ship them out tomorrow and get into Kentucky Saturday morning and train them in a week up to their big race and see what happens.
And then for those viewers that don't know what George is talking about, they're actually calling for snow tomorrow. And man, it usually starts on about November 1st and doesn't end till April or May up here. So it's coming a little bit early this year. Well, George, we wish you the best of luck at the Breeders' Cup. We'll be rooting for you in the distaff. And on behalf of Capital OTB and myself, we cannot thank you enough for coming on and talking to us today.
Gary, thanks for having us on, and I hope we make y'all proud. We're going to try to get it done.
Great. We'll be rooting for you. Take care, George.
Take care, Gary. Bye-bye.
Unfortunately, of course, George Weaver lost his top prospect, Vekoma, spiked a little fever, but he'll be back. Maybe Cigar Mile will look for Vekoma, but that was unfortunate for George, but has other opportunity today, so be rooting for that horse as well. Appreciate everybody that participated. Bob Baffert, Todd Pletcher, Mark Cassie. Again, enjoyed my conversation with Jack Knowlton, and it was fun that I caught up with him while he was out appropriately out visiting Funnyside. Also, Brad Cox, Peter Miller, and George Weaver. And thanks to Gary Contessa for jumping in and providing some of that content for us leading into this Breeders' Cup weekend. A lot of fun. Just wanted to hit on, I had some buyer figures from yesterday. Golden Pal in the Juvenile Turf, a 90 buyer. The Juvenile Turf Sprint, a 90 buyer. The Juvenile Turf for Fire at Will, also a 90. A 93 buyer for Vequist in the Juvenile Fillies. A 91 for Aunt Pearl in the Juvenile Filly Turf. And a really solid, this time of year, a 95, solid 95 for Essential Quality in the Juvenile yesterday. So there's some of the buyer figures that were put out. Also wanted to, once again, alert you to some of the promos to be aware of. We're rooting for the Belmont, the BC Syndicate. It's typically the Saratoga Syndicate, then it's the Belmont Syndicate. Now we've moved on this weekend, concentrating on the Breeders' Cup. As I say, it's been a lot of fun and very successful. They hit last week, Belmont closing day with the mandatory payout. It's an expanded syndicate with a big ticket on the pick 5 today at the Breeders' Cup, and it should be a lot of fun. We'll certainly be rooting for everybody on the team to score big today with the syndicate, which, as I say, has been a fabulous and fun promotion. If you haven't tried to jump in yet, check out the website for more information on future syndicate plays. Don't forget, if you come down to the Clubhouse Racebook today, we open up in about just a little under a half an hour. Love to have you swing on by and enjoy your Breeders' Cup action here. Breeders' Cup day. Clubhouse opens at 9:30, the branches and the Phonabets. And if you stop at the Clubhouse Racebook, you get this fabulous commemorative Breeders' Cup glass and a $2 quick pick on the Breeders' Cup Classic. Nice glass and the quick pick ticket all for the first 150 paid admissions here at the Clubhouse Racebook. So we'd love to have you swing on by and enjoy the racing action here. There's also a match bet promotion here. If you can't make it down here, there's an online Win-A-Bet promotion, so keep those in mind. And don't forget tomorrow, football and racing for the day after. You want to kick back and relax after a big Breeders' Cup weekend, stop by the Racebook and watch some football and racing action as well. All right, I'm going to wrap it up because they're underway, the pregame show at NYRA. Keeneland kicks off at 10:15, so we're just a little over an hour away. Aqueduct kicks off at 10:30, so things are starting early today. Load up, have some fun, cash some tickets. We're rooting for everybody. I'll be back in tomorrow for Racing Across America at 10 a.m. As I say, hoping to have Steve Bick join us, who's been at Keeneland all week long, and we'll recap all of the nice Breeders' Cup action. So I'm going to be out in the parlor this afternoon going through the Breeders' Cup races with the folks that are here, but I will see you tomorrow morning right here on the network for Racing Across America at 10 a.m. Good luck, great luck this afternoon.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.